So spring has sprung, which means it's new camping gear season, to which leads me to what I'm going to do today, and that is to review some new camping gear. Specifically, this Outbound portable fire pit, portable propane fire pit. I just bought it at Canadian Tire for $149, which was $50 off its normal price of $199. So Outbound is a brand that is owned by Canadian Tire, and I'm actually quite partial to Outbound because way back in the day, my first backpacking backpack was Outbound brand, so it's stuck with me. And we're gonna see how good their portable fire pit is. But first things first, I'm gonna open up the box here. The official unboxing. Styrofoam. Something in there. There's styrofoam left in there, so that can go. Take it out of this bag here. I feel like this is going to be dusty, so I don't recommend doing this on your nice dining room table like I am, but we're doing this for science. We got a manual. I'm not gonna read it. Part of the thing is if it's easy to use, I don't really need to use the manual. You know, that's my theory at least. So we'll pop these legs. So those actually fit kind of tight, which means I can carry it with the handle. What way do I want to do this? It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that's actually pretty secure feeling. Which, right off the bat, oh, and these kind of lock into place, which is pretty handy. So we're going to take the lid off. We got these fire rocks, which I will put in. Oh, we're going to keep looking first. That's that box. So, we have one adapter, two adapters. I'll take this thing off here. So this hose will screw on to my big propane tank, and then you can have, what is that? It's about 6 feet, give or take. So that screws onto the back of this thing here, screws onto a big propane tank. I don't really want to use that because I'm tired of taking that big old thing around. So what we want to do here, which I'll flip this around, is we're going to use this bad boy, and there's a little port right here. Let's do this blind. Let's feel around for the hole. Screw it on. And these, I bought a 3-pack of these at the same time, which were, I think it was $23 for a 3-pack, which feels like the price has gone up, but that's with everything, isn't it? But I like these little propane bottles. It's kind of a pain that you can't just, there's a lot of ease with the big old propane bottle. Like, you can use it for hours and hours and hours. I'm not sure how much use we're going to get out of these, but personally I like buying these pretty much every time I go, like camping. I'll just buy a 3-pack, take it out, use it for the camp stove. Now I can use it for the propane fire. And if I'm going for a quick afternoon, I can take one. You know, if I need a lot, I can take a lot. And frankly, with the other hose, I can take my big one. But anyways, that's besides the point. We're just gonna fire this thing up right now. It supposedly has a piezo electric start. So there we go. It fires up. And this thing specifically says do not use indoors. So don't do what I am doing. This is only a test. So that's low and that is high. I specifically, turn that off. Turns off pretty easy. I specifically want to test it without the rocks because I want to see what it burns like. Because I'm going to be doing like 4x4 camping. So in my head, these rocks are going to bounce around, bounce around, bounce around. It might be annoying. So I might want to run it no rocks. But it does kind of look, you know, not that... And it's also a lot lighter with no rocks. But it doesn't look that appealing. So I'm going to get these rocks. These are going to be dusty. Oh. Oh my God. Don't breathe. Okay, so that actually looks like a real fire pit. We're gonna test this thing again. Oh, that's one test that didn't fire with the rocks in there. Didn't fire again. Now it actually smells like gas here. Let's just try to redo these rocks. I think I might have got the electric start too dusty. So that is not very good. Oh, what a mistake. I hope this rock dust doesn't give you cancer. Oh, you can barely see anymore. It's like I'm in a hot box. Okay, refocused here. I'm gonna grab a lighter here. Okay, so I have a lighter now, and I quickly just read the manual, make sure there's no like emergency shut off that that's preventing this thing from going. Double check, everything's tight. So we're gonna give this one more go. Now, so we'll use a lighter. So I don't really know what the deal is here, but that's a huge negative that it literally worked one time, but we'll see going forward. So we got low, we got high, we got medium. So we're gonna put this thing on about medium here. And one complaint I read on the Canadian Tire website was how this thing does for wind. So we are going to artificially induce wind by blowing some air at it, and we're going to see how it functions. And if we go back up to high, see how it functions. So I do tend to think in a high wind situation, this fire might perform kind of subpar. But one thing I read was this lid makes for a good windbreak. We'll try again. A little clumsy there. And actually, that's a pretty solid technique. So, if you're ever in wind, I would use this lid. Oh. I'll turn that off for now. Put that back on. We'll let that cool for a second. And we're going to talk more about this. Okay, so even off camera, I tried fiddling with this a little bit more. And I cannot get it to turn on. So that's a huge disappointment as far as the electric start is concerned, which, you know, I may or may not return this considering it doesn't start, but I'll probably just live with it personally, because the real reason I bought this fire was, and you can see how quickly this thing does heat up, so be careful. But this, the size of this is why I bought it. So if you look here, this is my old fire pit. The old Yukon Legend. And this thing was sweet. But, like, look at the size difference. It's not even, you know, it's not really even comparable. And then if you add this on top of this, like, what are we talking about? This is so much. This fire is actually so portable, I could even take it with me in the canoe, which is what I do plan on doing, because we do have a lot of fire bans here in the summer. So if I go canoe camping, I feel like I could justifiably pack this with me with a couple tanks, because if you look at it, compares to a Coleman 2-burner stove, like, it's marginally bigger. It's considerably heavier. Like, it's probably 3 times the weight, but it's probably 30% bigger than a standard Coleman 2-burner stove. So even like this stove and the fire pit together compares favorably to my old campfire pit. So, that being said, I don't really know how to rank this. I'm very sour about the electric start, and frankly, it made for a bad video. But that is the raw details of this thing. And now we're gonna take it outside. We're gonna plug a brand new, except for my little test there. We're gonna plug this in, and we're gonna run it and see how long it lasts. I got about 3 hours before I would like to go to bed. So if it lasts 3 hours, I will be very impressed. And we're going to put it on high because, you know, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to put it on high, see how long it lasts. If it lasts any more than 3 hours and I decide I want to go to bed, I'm probably just going to call it a test. But anyways, that's the point. We're going to join me outside. We're going to relight it, see if electric start works. Probably won't. And then we're going to hook it up to the test, set a timer. Let's go. Okay. Let's go. I'm out here in my beautiful yard. Let it open. Yeah, very easy setup. Screw it on. Let's go this here. And we'll try. Oh. So the electric start worked that time. I don't really know what I did differently. So we'll have to call it intermittent starting, which is, you know, never an easy problem to solve. Okay, we're gonna leave it like that. It is on high. Go ahead and set stopwatch, and we'll monitor the situation, and I'll come back to you, and I'll give you the grand total and my final thoughts. So it's now 30 minutes in, and this propane tank is totally iced up. It's been iced up for at least 15 minutes, and I think it is affecting its performance, because now its high is kind of what its medium was. This is now low, and that's high. Like it barely changes. It's like it being ice cold here. It doesn't give it. Oh, there we go. Oh. He just got agitated. But yeah, being iced up, it definitely lowers the performance, but that's kind of typical. I've had this ice up on my camp stove, and it's definitely not super cold out. It's like 12 degrees Celsius out here, and it's iced up, so I guess that's another negative, but I think it is kind of typical. Anyways, leave the timer running. One hour and 5 minutes. So we're at an hour and 15, and the performance has noticeably slowed. So we're at an hour and a half, and it is, you know, it still produces a little bit of heat, but only half the burner's still lit, and it's kind of like no longer functional. And it's probably hasn't been functional after an hour and 10 minutes. So you're gonna get an hour and a half, maybe an hour 45 out of this bottle. But, you know, that's about it. Which I think is actually fairly decent. Okay, so I'm back with a little conclusion here. But first, we're going to do one more test, which it failed. So, that's a bummer. So in all, this thing lasted 1 hour and 47 minutes on one tank of propane, but realistically it lost performance. Well, lost performance after like 20 minutes, half hour, but really it's really started to deteriorate after an hour 10 minutes. It kind of like went right down to like being on low, and it slowly burned out. In the last like 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, it was like you're not even really by a fire. It was like slowly, slightly glowing. Which, anyways, all that I really do feel is actually quite fine. So performance-wise, this thing is good. It's acceptable, whatever. It's kind of what I would expect. But as far as like portability goes, this is everything. Like, it's quite small. It's sturdy. The legs I clipped into it. The handle worked like as a lid, like to be able to carry it. So portability, size, structure, and all that stuff, it is, to me, quite good, other than the fact the starter doesn't work. And the performance is fine. I'll give it a fine. So if I was going to rate this out of like 5 stars, I'd probably give it like 3.5, maybe 3.6 stars. But it suits my need. $149, buy it on sale. I feel better about it at $149 than I do at $199. But other than that, I don't really know what else to say. So that pretty much ends this review. I thought that would go smoother. Anyways, have a good night.